Hello guys, I'm going to be doing I changed it up. I'm going to do a Neptune Nuki Brown clone tonight. I've got about a 5.5 kilo grain bill. I've got 3.5 kilos of pale malt, 400 grams of chocolate malt, 600 grams of crystal. I've got 400 grams of carapils in there. First hop addition for 60 minutes is going to be Centennial. And I'm going to do a flavor addition at the middle at 30 minutes with 20 grams of Centennial. And then at the end, I'm going to flavor with 30 grams of, what is it that I've got back here? East Kent Goldings. Yeah, 30 grams of East Kent Goldings at the end. Looks like we're just about to mash temperature. I'm going to let that wait till it gets a little bit lower, and then I'm going to go ahead and mash in. I'll come back once I get everything mashed in, and we'll check our temps and we'll go from there. Okay guys, we're doughed in. The one thing about boiling bag is the volume of water is so much higher that you really don't have that much worry with dough balls. It just takes a little while to stir it up, and it's pretty much ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and put the lid on and check our temperature and see where we're sitting. Oops. Okay, let's put these clamps away. And lid on. And we're looking at 162. That's coming up a little bit. 168 is my target, so I'm a little bit below, but I think it's going to come up once it sits there for a second. Okay, it's sitting at about 165, so I'll turn one of the elements on, bring it up a little bit, and I'll be back in about an hour and a half, and we'll check the temperature and pull the bag out. Well guys, we're back at 168 for my mash-in temperature. It's just about 5 minutes in. I had to turn the one of the elements on to get the temperature up a few degrees, because it dropped down when I added all the grain. It's a pretty heavy grain bill for the small amount of space that I have, so even though it's boiling bag and I use a larger volume, sometimes it absorbs quite a bit of the heat, so I have to adjust it. Plus, I don't have a thermal sleeve around my mash tun, so which is something that I really need to do. But I've been waiting because I'm going to build a new mash tun with basically one of those blue HDPE plastic drums. It's a lot thicker, has a better thermal profile, and I'm just waiting on some elements that are coming from China. They're 4.5 kW elements. I'm going to put 2 of them in there, so it should be pretty easy to get everything up to boiling temperature quickly, and just a small adjustment to maintain temperature. So I'm looking at that. Also, I'm going to see about getting a thermocouple, a digital thermocouple, so that I can basically have it automatically maintain proper temperature, and you know, hopefully my efficiencies will work out a lot better then. But this is the first time that I've done a Nuki Brown clone on my own. I've done a kit partial mash version that was kind of close, but you know, it just didn't. You know, it had lots of sugar in it, and you know, it was more like a kit and kilo type flavor. And I really want to duplicate as close to it as I can with an all grain. So this will be interesting. This is the first time I've also used chocolate malt, and I think I used a bit more than I probably should have. But you know, it's an experiment. I kind of want to get that flavor through. I don't want it to be in the background and just be a coloring. So I added a little bit extra. It said in the Beersmith said around 200 grams, but I added about 400 grams. So along with the color, I should get a little bit darker color, but I also should get some hint of chocolate in there as well. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I've got about another hour left in the mash, so I'll come back to you once I'm done with the mash and we're getting ready for the boil. I'll probably have to sparge the grain bag. Once I suspend it over the boiler, I'll check our aftermash volume and see how much volume I need to build up before the boil. And usually I'll batch sparge 2 times with 1.5 liters of warm, or not warm, but slightly less than boiling water, and then let it drain out of the mash bag completely, and then I'll just start the boil while the bag is still suspended and dripping out, and then by the time I get to a good rolling boil, it's usually strained out, so it's not a problem. Okay, well, I'll come back to you then. Well, guys, it's the end of the mash. As you can see, our temperature is just slightly above mash out, so we're doing pretty good there. Going to go ahead and remove the cover. Oh, that smells awesome. Alright, well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to lift this grain bag up and support it up here on the ceiling. I've got a metal pole I put in there so I can do that. Let it drain out, and then I'll check my after mash volume and see how much we need to sparge. Pretty much, it's usually about 3 liters. I do it in 2 batches of 1.5 because that's what my boil kettle can do. And then we'll drain it off, and then I'll come back and let you know what the final volume is after we do the sparge, and then we'll do a original gravity reading and see if we met our goals on the mash. So I'll go ahead and take care of that, and I'll be right back with you. And by the way, guys, still drinking my home brew. This is actually a London special bitter kit that I got from, oh God, what was it? Hops Express or something like that. I'll get back to you on that. But cheers, and 17. As you can see, guys, we're still draining. The bag's draining. I've got a pre-boil volume of about 24 liters. That'll probably top out at about 25, which I figured about as much. So if we sparge with 3 liters, we should be sitting at around 28, which will boil down to exactly where we want to be. So I'll go ahead and get my kettle going, and I'll do 2 sparges of 1.5 liters each while the bag is suspended, and we'll let that drain, and I'll come back to you when we're at the right boil gravity. Temperature right now is sitting at about 65 degrees. Pretty sure our efficiency was pretty high. Usually with the boiling bag, I don't really have too much issues with that. I mean, I could do a test, but you know, 9.9 times out of 10, everything's fine. So I'll go ahead and do the sparge, and then I'll come back once we start the boil. Okay, guys, we're 30 minutes into the boil. I've already added at the beginning the 30 grams of Centennial. I'm going to add another 30 grams of Centennial now. We got a nice slow boil going with the heating element. I use 2 to get it to a rolling boil, and then I just run 1 just to keep it boiling for the boil. Alright, everything's looking good, color's nice. I exceeded my pre-boil gravity by 2 or 3 points. It ended up being around 1.047. If everything ferments out to 110, I'm looking at about 4.8 ABV, but we'll check the post-boil gravity, and we probably should see a little bit of increase there. I'm thinking probably 1050, something like that. I did add 300 grams of maltodextrin to give it a little bit more mouthfeel, and it also gives some head retention. And I guess I'll be back at about 15 minutes into the boil for the Protafloc tablet, and the at 10 for the last aroma hops addition. Looking good so far, exceeding all of our targets. Cheers, everybody. Hope you're having a good night. Okay, guys, we're at the 15-minute point of the boil. I'm going to go ahead and add my Protafloc tablet and our last hop addition, which is 30 grams of East Kent Goldings. Got some great color going on here, and the aroma is just unbelievable. I got notes of chocolate and very, very, very hoppy. It's nice. Really looking forward to tasting this. Anyhow, I'll be back on at flame out, and then we'll test our final gravity before I dump everything into a cube to cool overnight, and then we'll ferment tomorrow. Be right back. Cheers. 17. Okay, guys, we're at flame out. I ended up with a post-boil volume of 25 liters, which I'm pretty happy with. That minus the trub at the end, that should put me where I want to be. I'm going to go ahead and drain this into a cube. We'll make sure that all the surfaces in the cube are touched by the hot wort, so everything is sterilized, so it can sit tonight and cool off. First thing in the morning, I'll grab a sanitized fermenter and dump that in there. I'll also take the last bit of the wort, add that to my Erlenmeyer flask, and start a yeast culture tonight. I'll cool it off in some cold water I have here, and then stick it inside and let it start working overnight, and then pour that yeast into the fermenter tomorrow. And I'll do a follow-up video after everything's fermented out and I bottle this stuff. But